Welcome to the Norris Group Real Estate Podcast, a show committed to bringing you insights from thought leaders shaping the real estate industry. In each episode, we'll dive into conversations with industry experts and local insiders, all aimed at helping you thrive in an ever-changing real estate market, continuing the legacy that Bruce Norris created, sharing valuable knowledge, and empowering you on your real estate journey. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a newcomer, this is your go-to source for insider tips, market trends, and success strategies. Here's your host, Craig Evans.
The Norris Group is proud to present our 18th annual gala, I Survived Real Estate, at the Nixon Presidential Library on Friday, September 12th. Since 2008, our event has raised well over $1 million. This year, we'll be raising funds again for Make-A-Wish, OC, and IE. Individual tickets are available now. To get your tickets, go to isurviverealestate.com, click the link here in the card. We would like to thank the following platinum sponsors: UDirect IRA Services, the San Diego Creative Investors Association, Douglas Brook Homes, MBT Productions, Realty 411, and DBL Capital. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Today, we got a special guest who's deeply embedded in Riverside's real estate landscape, Brent Lee, managing broker and owner of Tower Agency, formerly Windermere Tower Properties. Brent isn't just an agent. He's a longtime community leader with decades rooted in Riverside, a solid academic background, and a passion for empowering both real estate agents and homeowners. Today, we'll explore why Brent and his team rebranded to Tower Agency and what it means for Riverside right now. With rising rates, shifting buyer behavior, and a need for trusted guidance, Brent offers an on-the-ground perspective of market trends, community building, and the future of real estate here. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, invest, or just stay informed, today's conversation offers real insight from someone shaping the industry and the neighborhoods they serve. All right, so let's get to it, Brent. Thank you. First of all, thank you for being on with us.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So now you're lifelong, were you born in Riverside or just grew up in Riverside?
Officially, I was born in Whittier, but my family moved here when I was 3.
Okay, so
if you ask a Riverside native, no, I'm not a native. So
you're not born and raised; you're just raised.
Just raised.
All right. Well, what were you gonna be when you were growing up early on? Like, what was like? I know. I was just gonna play baseball for the Dodgers, but like, what were you gonna do?
Well, once I realized, you got a lot closer than I do, but Magic Johnson was my hero growing up. So I always wanted to play for the Lakers. But I realized my skill set and my height and my athleticism did not align with that goal. So after that was crushed, I wanted to be a dentist like my dad.
Okay.
But once I started taking some of those higher level science classes, probably also wasn't my career path. But so I really didn't know. I graduated from college. I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do.
That was going to lead to my next question. So who was your biggest influence growing up? Because you have a brother and sister, mom and dad, who was would you say your biggest influences? I think you kind of gave us a hint there.
Yeah. I think, I was close with my family growing up, still am. So I think probably my first mentor that I can think of growing up was my grandpa on my dad's side. He was an educator, hard worker, nice guy, really big on relationships. He always cared about what I was doing, what I was into, wanted to learn more about that. So I always wanted to be like my grandpa growing up. But then too, my parents set a good example. They were big in supporting the community and hard work and giving back. So I was lucky to have lots of family mentors growing up that wanted to make the community better. So it was easy to follow in that lead for me.
Where did you actually go to college? And how did that change? Like, what were you going to be coming out of college?
So, in college, once I realized that I wasn't going to go into anything medical or science related thing, I thought I actually wanted to go into the military, maybe work in the Defense Department, intelligence, something like that. So I majored in economics, also majored in international relations. 9/11 happened in my junior year in college, so that was kind of a really inflection point for me on on who I was and what I wanted to do. Uh, but then after I graduated, I met with the Navy. Um, I quickly learned that my life would belong to the government and that I didn't have a lot of say in the direction in which I wanted to go. Uh, I remember sitting down with a neighbor, the creator for Officer Candidate School, and I told him I wanted to go and do intelligence. But he looked at my bio and kind of looked at my skill set, and he's like, "Yeah, I think you'd be really good at supply chain." And I was like, "Supply chain? Like, no, I want to do intelligence." He's like, "Yeah, I think supply chain would be a really good opportunity for you." I was like, no, I really want to do intelligence." And he's like, and then he kind of like stopped me. He's like, "Son, when you join the Navy," and I'm kind of paraphrasing, he's like, "we pretty much tell you what you got to do." So that was a good reminder for me that maybe also the Navy wasn't a good career path uh, for me. So opportunity opened up. My mom owned a real estate company. I had my real estate license. That was kind of part of being the lead growing up. Once you turn 18, you have to take your real estate test, whether you wanted to be in real estate or not. So I had that. My mom had an opening in her property management division. She needed some help. Uh, really didn't want to do it, but needed a job. And it's like, oh, it's only a year. I can do anything for a year. So 20 years later, 22 years later, still here.
Yes. That's how I was gonna say. How did you get back into it? But now, as you started to work, and you had that background of giving back and being a leader, and as you became more of a leader in the community and business, can you tell the audience who Bob Stockton was and what his mentorship meant to you?
Yeah. So I mean, Bob was like a community giant. He was smaller in stature. I think he weighed all of 120 pounds. But man, he was just bigger than life. He was an engineer by trade, but that's just what he did. That's not who he was. He really cared about fitness, like taking care of yourself. He cared about other people taking care of themselves, and then also making sure that you gave back to the community. So he really invested in his health, and he really invested in Riverside. And people looked up to him and, across the city to get his opinion on things about what the future of Riverside and Mentor should look like, and how we were going to get there. So not only did he have the vision, which I think is a rare trait, but he also had the know-how to make that vision a reality. So I really connected with him back in 2012, I would say. I was entering my early 30s. I just had my first kid. I was struggling kind of with my own health, and I was really blessed to have good metabolism. I was kind of always a skinny, fit guy. But once I turned 30, that wasn't always the case. And so Bob really encouraged me to like make it fun, make health fun. One thing that sticks with me that I remember is once you have fitness, you got to keep it up, because it's really hard once you get out of shape to get back into shape. So just having that consistency with everything you did, whether it's your health, your business, your commitment to the community, I kind of carried forward that practice like he did. So really blessed to know him for the time I did. And he really just kind of changed how I thought about my community, how I thought about my family, and how I thought about myself.
I kind of saw him as somebody who was super connected in places that we all wanted to be when we were, kind of coming up through the ranks, right? And he wasn't afraid to connect people like yourself with, all of his network, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was one, like, as you recall, when we were starting Pit Group, that group started because we wanted a seat at the table, and we felt like there wasn't room at the table for us at the time. But he was someone that would always make room for you at his table. And if he had access to a table that we didn't have access to, he would make room for you too. So he was one of the big supporters of us starting the Pit Group of young professionals and making sure that the younger professionals in town were welcomed at whether it was boards, commission, Chamber of Commerce. He wanted to make sure that young people had a voice, and that they had their perspective at the table as well.
So a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about is culture and, um, what makes you who you are. So how would you describe the culture at Tower Agency?
Um, it's hard to kind of summarize in a short way, but I'll do my best. I think it's really about collaboration, right? We're in a competitive industry. We're salespeople. We're commission based uh, income, uh, but I think there's still room to be that and also be collaborative. I come from a mindset of abundancy rather than scarcity, especially in a town like Riverside, where there's 300,000 people just in the city of Riverside, or 3 million people in the Inland Empire. Uh, there's plenty of real estate transactions for anybody that wants them. So I think in our office, we try to keep that abundance mindset at the forefront and try to work collaboratively. So my success is my agent's success. My agent's success is all the agent's success. So if we keep that in mind uh, and worry about competing against other brokerages rather than ourselves, I think that kind of sets the standard uh, for that culture. And then also realizing that uh, real estate is more about just transactions, right? It's about relationships. And I think people want to work with others who are like them. So we really encourage agents to try to be places where they're going to meet people and interact with people that they want to hang out with and they want to do business with. And I think if you do that, you'll be able to build great relationships and lifelong clients. We all know that the cost of acquiring a client is very expensive. Keeping a client is a bigger value. So I think just that collaborative mindset, building on relationships, and then realizing we're really lucky to be able to do what we do. And for those of us that are successful, we should be giving back. And that doesn't just necessarily mean money, but it can. But it means giving back your turn, right? So my agents that are involved with that go to church and involved with church, I say, hey, that could be a place to start. Get involved with your church, get involved with your church community.
Yeah, and I'll talk a little bit more about that too as we go through here. Now, you you started by working with your mom, but you've been running the show there for a while. Now, why was this the right time? Because you just did a rebrand. So why was this the right time to rebrand from Windermere Tower? And what does that shift mean for the city of Riverside and the area?
Yeah, so I think we always joke at our office. I mean, my mom started this company in 1989. Her and I partnered together in 2012. And we always thought of ourselves as a small business. We are a small business, but we're a 30-year-old startup, right? We've been around for 30 years. We have that history. We've been in the same location, but we try to stay blissful as a small business to try to keep up with the trends and kind of stay ahead of where the market is going. So at the beginning of this year, well, kind of over the last year before that, we kind of saw the market shifting and the need to create more of an agent-centric model where we were a franchise model before. So we wanted our agents to be the brand. Of course, we wanted to come alongside them because we think we could add value that way. But we thought just the way the market was headed and to be competitive and to attract and recruit the best agents in our industry, we had to change the way we did business. So we wanted to keep with who we were, what we've always been with Tower, but rebrand ourselves, get away from the franchise, save some costs there, and really let the agents be at the forefront of what they do and who they do business with. So we did that in January, and it's not been a big success. We didn't lose any agents. In fact, we've grown by about 20 agents in the last 12 months. We're really glad for the agents that we have, and they bought into this kind of direction that we were headed in. So we're really lucky, I think, to do what we do and really do it well.
Well, I was kind of joking to myself that I'm gonna have to charge you some marketing fees for, I walk twice a day, 2.5 miles, and like my hat's starting to look like Kershaw's hat with all the sweat stains on the tower hat. But anyways, so growing up in Riverside, and you just talked about how your grandfather was a huge influence and he was an educator. Your wife's family is heavy into education. So you yourself, you serve on the Riverside Unified School Board now, and you've done that for a while. How does how do those roots come into play on how you actually deal with your agents and how you run your business?
I mean, I hope it sets an example for them, that, even the busiest people can still give back, in the way that fills their cup. So I think the fact that, I'm able to, help clients buy and sell real estate, I'm able to help lead my agents at my office, so that they can serve their clients. So I can manage those two hats and still be able to serve my community, something I'm passionate about, public education. So I think that kind of starts at the top. If you don't, you can talk about giving back, but if you don't do it, it's hard to kind of expect that from others, that you work with. So I hope that it kind of just sets the standard for what we are about in at Tower. That we're obviously want to be the best at what we do and helping people in with their real estate needs, but we can do other things too. Kind of like what we talked about with Bob, right? Real estate's what we do, but it's not necessarily who we are. So it's important to do both.
So I'm going to talk about the market a little bit now. You've had some so your agents and your office has had some great success. I see some of the numbers that you guys put out on social media. Now, how are you seeing buyers right now, and how are they acting differently than they did a year ago?
Well, I mean, I think there's just been a lot of uncertainty in the market. The stock market, the real estate market typically doesn't like uncertainty. And I think when there's that uncertainty, people are hesitant to make big decisions. And for most consumers, when they buy a house or sell a house, it's a big decision. Likely the biggest, at least economic decision they're going to make in their life. So over the last year, I think because of that uncertainty, we haven't had really predictable results in the market. We've been lucky down here in Southern California that for the most part, the market has remained, fairly stable. We haven't seen prices really go down. There's pockets, I'm sure you could find that have. Overall, the market has really kind of remained kind of stable. Interest rates have made.
Yeah, how are they affecting, especially people who are trying to get into the market? The barrier to entry in California as a whole is high, and now with the interest rates being what they are, how does that affect them?
Yeah, I mean, it's like an affordability issue, right? The cost of homes has not kept pace with the income people are earning. So while California real estate has always been high, it's never been higher. And over the last 2 years or so, interest rates have continued to come, not to historic highs, but doubled or tripled what they were back in 2020, 2021. So while some families could justify kind of extending their budget a little bit because money was so cheap, almost free, now that is not the case. With interest rates over 6%, and the average house being over 600,000. I mean, you're talking about entry-level buyers with not a lot of down payment, looking at a $4,000 or $5,000 house payment.
Yeah, I just saw.
That's just not realistic for a lot of people in other.
Well, I just saw that. I think it was Realtor.com put out, what you need to afford a house in every state, and I think California was $197,000.
Yeah, that's bananas.
Yeah. So, are there any parts of the IA that the IE? Is there any parts of Riverside and areas that you work with that are hotter than others? And is there any like hidden gems that like these are like not a lot of people are talking about these places, but it's great for families. It's great for values, and what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of places like that in the Inland Empire that maybe don't get the light that they should. I think Riverside still has a high ceiling in terms of growth. There's a lot of great things happening in the city, especially on the north end, on the north side of the city. A a lot of change.
Yeah, how's that going to impact values out there?
Yeah, time will tell, right? So right now there's some ideas on what they're going to do to develop out there, including like an adventure park, which is going to have like a
Professional
river that
stadium?
people can see that. Yeah, special soccer stadium. So I mean that could really change uh, the trajectory of that community. Um, that has been always a kind of an underpriced, uh, more affordable part of the city, kind of rural. But those two projects alone could really change what's going on. Kind of like what you've seen in the Spring Mountain Ranch, kind of on the east side of Riverside, kind of by Grand Terrace, where that whole mountain has become a huge community now, uh, which is also another, I think, kind of a hidden gem. Um,
Yeah, that was all warehouses back there before, right?
yeah, I mean, you got nice views. You're close to the freeway. Got the mountains right there. I think that's still a great place that you could see the market continue to go up. Um, and downtown, I think downtown. I mean, there's some great neighborhoods in the downtown Riverside area. Uh, Very walkable to be able to get to all the downtown life has to offer. Starting to see more density come there with apartments, luxury apartments. I think it's only a matter of time. Well, hopefully we'll see some condos that people can actually purchase and live in downtown. I think with our aging community, uh, that's a good option for people who are wanting to have a more walkable life, get out of their big house or their big yard and have something that they can still own, um, and call their own, but not have all the responsibility of being.
There was a huge push for things to do there, right? For a long time. And it seems like, with restaurants and things like that, but now it's almost like they're really leaning into the arts and culture, right? That's like where do you see that going in the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, I hope the city keeps going in that direction. I'm excited with all the growth and development and restaurants and bars and stuff that are happening in Riverside, getting some nightlife. But I felt like we've been pretty heavy on that, and we're missing out on opportunities for families. Um, Definitely after hours, probably not a place you want to take your family in downtown Riverside because there's not a lot to do. But I think if we lean in more to the arts and culture scene, uh, to attract young families to come downtown, I think we'll get a more balanced community. Um, Obviously, the Teach actually changed how downtown operates. A lot of people from out of town coming to check out, I don't know, the Teach Burn Center, Chicago Art, and I think that's a big piece. The city has finally funded the Riverside Museum, which has been vacant for 10 years. So hopefully that will be an opportunity for families to come downtown and learn about Riverside's history, culture. You have the Dorada House that they're making an investment in, which I mean, it is a historic landmark, but it's not one that um, can really go inside at this time. But I think with the investment there, learning about our culture and our history here in Riverside and some of the families that changed the way that the United States operates. I think doing more of that will attract younger families to Riverside, which is, I think, good for the community.
Now, there's a difference between knowing what's coming up and actually being involved in a lot of it, right? So, would you say that that's where maybe some of you and your agents have an advantage? They're not just like, oh, like I kind of on the know what's coming up. They're actually involved. Like, for example, you're part of the Air Norris Creative Fund. We're actually contributing to the arts in Riverside.
Right. So part of that arts and culture movement in downtown Riverside was kind of a beautification movement. And so there's a mural project that's been started throughout the city, but really with an emphasis downtown. So there's dozens of beautiful murals created by local artists downtown. And as you shared, Aaron Norris Creative Fund stepped up and wanted to honor the legacy of Aaron and what he did for the community and be part of that movement while honoring his legacy. So I think this week we'll be able to share that mural at Arts Walk and contribute to the arts and culture movement downtown at the same time honoring our friend here.
Yeah, Aaron was a dear friend, a brother of ours, and what's your? I'm gonna put you on the spot. What's your favorite Aaron Norris story?
I think I have two. One short and kind of funny, and then the other one's a little bit more useful. But the funny one is, I like wine. Wine's kind of my thing. Aaron Norris was not a wine guy. He wasn't really an alcohol guy at all, actually. But one day he knew I was into wine, so he's like, "Oh, I got a wine story for you." I used to work at Coco's, Marie Callender, I think it was Coco's, and he had some customers that he was waiting on, and that customer asked him, "Well, what type of wine do you have?" And Aaron, being a young guy, found nothing about wine. He's like, red, pink, or white. That was his answer. That always has given me a chuckle because I can picture in my brain the interaction happening at the table, and Aaron laughing at it afterward. I think the other story that really sticks out in my mind was I got reconnected with Aaron through the PIT group, and so we got to do a lot of cool things together.
Because you guys went to the same high school, right?
We did go to him. He was a little bit older than me, so we didn't really know each other super well at Poly. But through the PIT group, we were able to reconnect, and he was obviously doing a lot. He was working for a family business. I was working for a family business. We both were working on things. We were both doing a lot of things for the community, and I was getting spread pretty thin. I felt like I wasn't being super effective in anything that I was doing. I was just on a board, not really pulling up my sleeves, getting work done. And I was talking to Aaron about that. And he was telling Aaron was a doer, as you know. Aaron is not only a doer, he kind of, whatever board or commission he's like, he's kind of the leader in getting things done. And that was really important to him. And if you were on a board with him and you weren't getting things done, he would let you know. So anyways, we're having this conversation one day, and he's like, "Brent, you do too much. Because you do too much, you don't do enough." He's like, "You need to learn how to say no." Well, it's hard to say no, right? These are like my friends, these are people I look up to, mentors, community leaders. And when they ask me, I feel like I got to say yes. He's like, "Why do you have to say yes? If you're not going to do anything, you're taking the place of someone else who might do something." So Aaron really was the first person to teach me the lesson and kind of give me permission that it was okay to say no. Doesn't mean you couldn't be involved, but just really be effective on whatever you're going to say yes to, and that you were going to make a difference. And so that always stuck with me. So I've always followed that advice. And when given the opportunity to talk to other young people or people that are just getting more involved in the community, kind of sharing that advice that he taught me.
Yeah, there's too many stories for me to pick one out.
I bet.
Yeah, it was the blessing of my career to be able to work with them, side by side and do all the things that we did. Thanks, everyone. That's going to do it for this week's show. Be sure to tune in next week for part 2. Don't forget to visit I Survive Real Estate for tickets to the event on Friday, September 12th. The Norris Group would like to thank the following gold sponsors: Keystone CPA, the Inland Valleys Association of Realtors, Pasadena Phoebe, the North San Diego Real Estate Investors Association, LA South RIA, NorCal RIA, the Wizard of the Wobbly Box, Andy Teasley, Shepherd's Finance, the Thompson Group, Property Radar, and White House Catering. The dinner wine is provided with a generous contribution by Rick and Leanne Ross. Hope to see you all there.
For more information on hard money loans, trust deed investing, and upcoming events with the Norris Group, check out thenorrisgroup.com. For more information on passive investing through the DBL Capital Real Estate Investment Fund, please visit dblcapital.com.
The Norris Group originates and services loans in California and Florida under the California DRE license 01219911, Florida Mortgage Lender license 1577, and NMLS license 1623669. For more information on hard money lending, go to thenorrisgroup.com and click the hard money tab.